Okay, when I say project management, what pops into your head? I'm guessing it's things like Gantt charts, spreadsheets, budgets, and, those really stressful deadlines. Well, today we're going to take that whole idea, toss it out the window, and build a new one from scratch. We're going to talk about what really makes a project a success.
To get us started, let's look at two huge construction projects. First, you've got the Sydney Opera House. The original budget was supposed to be 7 million Australian dollars. The final cost, 102 million. It was meant to take 4 years. It took 14. By all traditional metrics, a total disaster, right? Then you have this overpass in Montreal. Came in right on time, perfectly on budget. A project manager's dream. So which one do you think was the real win here? The project that played by all the rules, or the one that seemed to break every single one? Yeah, you probably guessed it. The answer is the Sydney Opera House. And to really get why, we have to totally shift our thinking about what a project is even for. It's not just about being efficient.
This brings us to the actual goal, the true north of any project. It's not about ticking boxes, it's about creating value. But what on earth does value even mean in this context?
So, the official term is business value. Basically, it's any benefit that helps an organization out. And here's the really important part. That benefit can be tangible, something you can literally count, or it can be intangible, something you feel, something that's harder to put a number on. Let's break that down. Tangible value is the straightforward stuff, right? We're talking money in the bank, market share, new buildings. But intangible value, that's where the real magic is. This is stuff like your brand's reputation, public goodwill, or even just making your employees happier to come to work. It's squishy, but it's incredibly powerful.
And this just nails our puzzle from the beginning, doesn't it? The process of building the Opera House was, by all accounts, a failure. But the result? It's a global icon, a UNESCO World Heritage Site that brings in almost 11 million visitors a year. That is massive, long-term and tangible value that makes the initial cost overruns look like a rounding error. Oh, and that perfectly managed Montreal overpass? It was torn down a year later because it didn't fit with the city's future plans. It delivered zero value, absolutely zero.
So, if value is the big prize, how do organizations actually go about getting it? Well, it's definitely not by accident. They build a whole system specifically for it. Yeah, the best organizations don't just hope for good outcomes. They actually engineer a system that's designed to turn big ideas into real-world value, connecting everything from the CEO's vision board all the way down to what someone's working on this Tuesday. And here's what that system looks like. It all starts with strategy. That's the big picture vision. That vision gets translated into a portfolio of different initiatives. Then those initiatives get broken down into programs and projects. This is the actual work being done. And once a project is finished, its result is handed off to operations, the part of the company that keeps that value going day in and day out. See, it's a clean flow from a big idea to lasting impact. But of course, no project exists in a perfect little bubble, right? This whole value delivery system is constantly getting knocked around by forces both inside and outside the company. Let's make this super simple. Think of the outside influences as the weather. You can't change the fact that it's raining, you just have to navigate it. Inside influences, on the other hand, are your tools. This is the gear you have in your truck that you can use to deal with that rain. So these outside influences are things you have absolutely no control over. We're talking about the economy, new laws getting passed, what's trending on social media, you name it. These things can completely change the game for your project, whether you like it or not. Now, inside influences, that's your home field advantage. These are all the assets your company has already built up. Things like project templates, checklists, and this is a big one, lessons learned from past projects. A smart team leans on these things so they're not constantly starting from scratch. Okay, so we've covered value and we've covered systems, but at the end of the day, it's people who get projects done. So what does a team need to actually succeed in this new value-focused world? It's really a mix of skills. Of course, you need to know the technical stuff, the ways of working, but that's just table stakes. You also need what we call power skills: communication, leadership, empathy. You need business acumen to see how your project fits into the big picture. And all of that has to be wrapped in a sense of social responsibility and an absolutely relentless focus on getting results, on creating that value we keep talking about. So after all of that, what's the big takeaway? It's pretty simple, actually.
we have to start judging projects on two totally separate levels. First, you've got process efficiency. This is the old school stuff. Was it on time? Was it on budget? The Montreal overpass, honestly, a 10 out of 10. But the second dimension, the one that really matters, is outcome effectiveness. Did the project actually achieve its goal and deliver real value? On that scale, the overpass gets a big, fat 0. The Sydney Opera House, for all its process messiness, is an absolute off-the-charts success. So the next time you hear about a new project, whether it's at your own company or something you see in the news, I want you to challenge yourself. Don't just ask if it was on schedule. Ask a better question. What value did it create? Because at the end of the day, that's the only thing that truly matters.